Sure. We're your co-hosts, Woo the Dog and Jinx the Mouse, and we're here to give you warm takes on video games and other pop culture topics that you can use on your friends. So, you watched some movie tonight. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, way to be awkward about it.
Oh.
So the movie so the movie I watched was Malignant, and Tess has been dying for me to see this movie for literally like 3 days in a row. And she wouldn't stop complaining. She's like, I wanna watch the movie, I wanna watch the movie. And I was like, oh fine, I'll watch this shitty movie. Fortunately it was a good bad movie. And
Wait, it was
good
bad?
bad movie.
Like,
Yeah, it was bad. But like in a good way,
oh, okay.
if that makes
Yeah,
sense.
that makes
So
sense.
okay, yeah, so without we're gonna put like a spoiler alert here. So if you're gonna watch the movie, don't listen to this part. But basically, this movie is about this woman who has a miscarriage. Okay, it's really messy in the
Oh.
beginning because in the first like 5 minutes, her husband dies.
You know,
Who's like super abusive, by the way.
of course. I
And
don't
they
think
use
I
this
would
like
really be able to handle that, honestly, so I'm glad that I didn't actually watch it, because I feel
yeah, they
like,
used it as like a crutch.
oh,
Go ahead.
no, I was just saying that, I feel like I wouldn't have been able to handle it if I watched it, so I'm
Mm.
kind of glad that I didn't go with you.
Honestly, I think he would have been fine because it wasn't like scary. The first like 15 minutes was a bit creepy. They definitely had some moments where I was like, "Oh, that's really creepy."
Mm.
Very reminiscent or honoring a lot of older horror movies. There was a part that reminded me of The Grudge. Um, One of the older Grudge movies, the original Japanese one. And
Right.
then there was another moment that was reminiscent of another horror movie that I was like, "Oh, I've seen that before. I know which movie that's from." So it was really nice because it was like, "Oh, those are." Uh, it's aware of its culture, I guess, which I feel like a lot of current horror movies aren't really too.
Yeah,
They aren't
I
good.
don't
They aren't
watch
good.
a lot of new horror movies. I tend to stick to like
I'm a
the
big horror fan.
80s when I do watch them.
Yeah, I'm a big horror fan, and honestly, like anything past like 2010 kind of just really starts to fall off really hard.
Mm.
But this movie was actually really enjoyable because it was super engaging the whole time. Like, I don't think there was a part of the movie that's what made it like not. That's part of what made it a good bad movie. It was very engaging. There wasn't a single portion of the movie. I mean, to be fair, the first 20 minutes is just like built up and really trying to like, okay, here's this character, and this character, and they're all pertinent to the story. And then kind of, it kind of takes some time to do that. But other than that, like it was pretty laughable. There were the acting was, subpar. Not the worst, like to the point where you just don't want to watch it at all, but it wasn't the best either. Like the delivery of the lines, the dialogue in general was just very
But
typical horror movie.
is it like because they have like triple A movies and then like B movies and stuff. Was this
Yeah,
like a
I
high
actually don't know what
production
it
movie?
categorizes. It is definitely a high budget movie. The CGI in this movie wasn't like
Oh,
that of a B-rated movie
yeah.
or but I think it does well in keeping you engaged during the whole time. It is very funny during some parts because it's just,
It's so
in horror
bad.
movies, characters, yeah, the dialogue is awful, but there's just certain characters that it's like, why would you do that? Why why would you not be suspicious of this thing that's
Yeah.
happening? So what's really confusing about the movie too, or what keeps it also engaging, is it keeps you confused the whole time because they add so many different plot elements. Like, I'm trying to stay as vague as possible without spoiling too much,
Mm.
but they add so many plot elements that keeps you like guessing, which I think is pretty interesting. The cuts are very confusing at times, where it's like, oh, okay, we're in this new scene. All right, got it. They do this weird drone thing in the house where they're chasing like the main or the main character is getting chased in the house that she has, which I thought was
Oh,
like, what
like
was the point of
a
this?
a drone camera? Is it like following
Yeah,
her
I
as
was like,
she's running?
yeah, through the house, she's like running and locking all the doors because she's panicking, and it's
That
just like
sounds
a
awful.
literally bird's eye view. Yeah, it was just like, what the fuck was the point of that? But the ending was pretty solid. Happy ending kind of thing. But yeah, I think it kept me pretty engaged the whole time, which was really nice. It was a kind of long movie. I believe it was like a 1 hour and 54 minutes,
Holy
but it didn't
cow.
feel long when I watched it. Um,
Yeah, I guess that's
so
good.
yeah, it was definitely
I'd rather it be horrible and at least have time go by fast. Because if it's like
yeah, it didn't
dragging
feel
on,
like
that's awful.
right. It didn't feel like oh god, when is this movie going to end? Although I did it the more and more ridiculous it got, I was just like, "Oh my god." Like, what's next? And I think those bad horror movies that do stuff like that make them good.
Yeah,
Like, if they can keep you engaged in the storyline, even though the story plot's really bad, the actors can't deliver lines for shit, the script is awful, and it also plays on this weird, like, it's like half paranormal, half humanoid, like half humanoid, half paranormal thing. So
like
I think
is there like a monster or like because you mentioned like in the
that's the
beginning
thing.
like this woman
No,
has a
it's
miscarriage.
not. It's a humanoid. I don't want to spoil it too much because that's the whole point of the movie.
Yeah,
But that's all I can say is like it's a humanoid paranormal. Because at first it starts out as like super paranormal. I was like, oh wow, okay. I really fucking hate paranormal horror movies.
yeah,
So whatever, let's go with it.
they're not my
And
favorite.
turns out it was not paranormal. I don't know. It's not really explained later on, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I- yeah, paranormal, humanoid creature thing, and it's a pretty engaging movie. I liked it a lot. Um, I would probably give it like a 5 out of 10.
Oh no, Hey, but you just said you
Yeah.
liked it. How's it?
Yeah, well, yeah, I liked it, but it was, as good as whatever. I mean, high budgeted shitty movie could be.
Yeah.
You know.
Okay, I guess that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. You talking about it now kind of makes me wish I watched it a little bit, even
I
though
think
like I
I
do
think he would have
really
been fine with
bad.
it. Yeah, I think he would have been fine with it because it was laughable.
That's
Like it
fair.
wasn't even one of those things. I don't even think it took itself seriously. I could tell in the first like 20 minutes the director was like, "Yeah, this is going to be really spooky." And then like for some reason as it went on,
he
they were like, "All right, let's get really
he was
fucking
going on, and
ridiculous with it.
like as they were filming it, the director's just like, "Hold on, guys, this is awful. So let's just
Yeah,
make it stupid now."
let's just make it dumb, but like good dumb." It was yeah, again, when I said it's laughable, I actually laughed. I think there was like 3 scenes that I laughed out loud, and it was pretty good. I thoroughly enjoyed it. If you're a horror movie fan and you like ridiculousness, I think *Malignant* would be really nice. It's a
Yeah,
little bit misleading because I don't think it is supposed to be comedy at all. I'm pretty sure it's just supposed to be strictly horror, especially like looking at the poster and the trailer and stuff. But I just can't. I can't take it seriously. I don't think anyone else in the room who watched it with me took it seriously either.
that's
So
fair. There's a lot of movies
yeah,
like that too, where like they try to make a good movie, but it's so bad, and it's like
yeah,
so. I've definitely like there's this movie. It's a really old movie. You might have heard of it. It's called Plan 9 from Outer Space. It was made by a
nope.
guy named Ed Wood, and it's just like this sci-fi movie about aliens back in the black and white movie days.
Hmm.
And he had like no budget, but he made the
Hmm.
movie anyways. So like a lot of the
Hmm.
effects are really bad looking and stuff, and the scripting is not
Those
that
are always the
great.
best. I feel like those are always the best horror movies in terms of like uh enjoyability for what it is.
Yeah,
It's transparent and aware of what it's going for. I feel like the worst kinds of horror movies are the ones that take themselves way too
yeah.
seriously and like I don't know, they really the other worst type of horror movies are ones that rely on jump scares. Genuinely make me want to die.
I really hate those because like they get me every time, and it's just the cheapest way to scare someone.
I know, it's so cheap, and it's like, you really sacrificed everything in this movie, like, plot line, literally like, the only engaging moments you had were jump scares, and there was only, like, 3 of them. Needless to say, jump scare or horror movies that rely solely on jump scares to scare people genuinely make me want to set them on fire.
Wait, the movies or the people? Both.
Both. The directors who write those stupid fucking movies, and because there's this one movie, it starts with a C, I think.
The
Conjuring.
Conjuring.
The Conjuring fucking heavily relies on jump scares. I've only seen the first one, and I remember seeing the second one, but the second one was so goddamn boring. I don't think I like was even paying attention. I'm pretty sure I was on my phone or something. But it was just my gosh, awful, awful movies. Hate those movies. Hate
Yeah.
any movies that pretty much follow that weird structure as well, as like family moves into new home. Family, like literally like white rich family moves into new home. Wow, paranormal
Oh, it's
activity.
all
10,000 jump
spooky.
scares. Oh no, there's ghosts because we built it on native land. Like what the fuck?
Oh yeah.
Like
You
what
know,
is that recipe for horror movies?
I
Hate
never
it.
thought of like how many movies actually use that same exact plot line.
Yes.
It's so
It's so
bad.
awful. Like, what even is that? Like, is that their way of like these are our way of giving you guys reparations? Like, what in the fuck?
Yeah.
Oh man. And why is it always native people? Like native Indian Americans. I will never get that. I will literally never get that. Like not to make light of that situation because obviously that does
Oh
happen
yeah.
and that's really
Yeah.
awful. But the fact that these horror movies like I don't know, I guess prey on that and use that as a tactic of horror and make this weird like hooey fooey like witch doctor, like Native American witch doctor that they have to seek out so that they can cast the ghost out of their house. Like what?
Yeah,
Like
it
what? That's so
definitely.
many different plot lines. I could probably name like 7 movies
Yeah.
that follow that. I'm like, wow, great. Real creative, guys. But yeah, speaking of movies, we have our new upcoming Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City movie. Now, this one is going to be so exciting for me because it's actually based on the games, unlike the 7,000 other Resident Evil
Yeah,
movies that they
so
released.
yeah, the all the other Resident Evil movies are like loosely based on the games, but they take a lot of
Loosely.
liberties. Yeah, very loosely.
Loosely. If you've never
Extremely.
seen them, don't watch
Don't
them.
watch
You
them.
don't need to.
Like,
And if you've seen them, I'm sorry.
yeah, I'm sorry too. And the one scene that I always think about is like just this scene where like Nemesis cries because they completely like change his whole like thing about him. Because you know in the games he's
Right.
like a bioweapon and stuff that they made to
Yeah.
hunt stars. Well, that might be a spoiler, but at this point, if you haven't played Resident Evil 3, eh,
You probably aren't going to play it.
yeah. But, you know, he's a bioweapon that they use to hunt down the stars members. And, like, in the movie, there's a scene, like, they make him, like, some lady's husband or something. I don't even think she's a character from the games. And there's this one scene where, like, Nemesis is, like, fighting her, and she kicks his ass, of course. And he just, like, he looks at her, and it's like he remembers who she is, and he, like, starts crying. I'm like, how are you going to make Nemesis cry?
Like make a weird they tried to humanize him in a way that was like, "Oh, we should feel bad for
Yeah,
him."
no, Nemesis should not cry. But, you know, anyways, there's a new Resident Evil movie coming out that's actually based on the games, and it looks really good.
Yeah, I'm actually really excited for the cast lineup too because these are actors that I actually know and have seen in other things and enjoyed them in other things. And it's going to be so weird seeing them in a horror movie or yeah, horror
Mm-hmm.
movie. I like it's I'm so excited. I think this cast is going to work really well because they are really great actors. I'm super excited to see the main actor who's playing, or the actor who's playing Leon. Now, the thing
Yeah.
about this movie is they're covering the events of Resident Evil 1 and 2 from the video
Mm.
games. And I'm really curious because there's a couple of things I'm curious about is like the ending of how this movie is going to end. Is it going to be like an open-ended kind of thing and they'll see how that like this movie goes in terms of ratings and stuff and they'll be like, "Oh, look, another movie."
Yeah, I don't know.
Or if they'll have like an actual ending that they choose from the video games because as you know, like RE1 has a couple of different endings.
Yeah, I don't know, because it's so weird because the endings in both of those games are so, like, solid. And so, like, once you get them,
Very solid.
yeah, like, it's kind of like when you play them now, it's, like, obvious, like, okay, yeah, sequel. Especially if you kind
Mhm.
of knew a little bit about the games before going into it. But like when you play
Right.
them, the way that they end, it doesn't feel sequel-ish. So the way that I'm kind of expecting that they're going to handle it, and I could be
Mhm.
wrong on this, but I feel like they're gonna probably split the movie 50-50 between RE1 and
Mm,
RE2 and just run through
okay.
both the storylines. Um, but I don't know, because it's weird, because I'm pretty sure that it's been a while since I played them, but I'm
Uh-huh.
pretty sure that Resident Evil 2 takes place after the events of Resident Evil 1, so like there's no way
It
that they can do
does.
them side by side.
I'm pretty sure it does. I can't really remember if it does or not. But I think I think I'm really also interested in like the creative liberties that they're going to take because Resident Evil 1 and 2 they have, well, specifically Resident Evil 1, they have a very specific camera angles that they do
Yeah.
in the games, I just and that adds to the horror and the spookiness of the game because as you're maneuvering through the mansion and you're trying to finish the puzzles and stuff, I think the scariest portion is not being able to see what's
Yeah,
ahead of
there's a
you.
lot of
And
tight
it's
corners
super.
in the mansion and the police
Yes.
station.
And the suspension, yeah, the oh my gosh. The suspense, there you go. I don't know why I couldn't think of the word. The suspense that builds up from those camera angles just alone by those camera angles is stressful enough. So I really think I'm really excited to see how the creative liberties are going to take when it comes to the cinematography of the movie because I feel like that plays a lot into why Resident Evil 1 is so goddamn scary.
Yeah, for sure. And
But
I I can't emphasize enough how excited I am that they're actually going to be following the plot lines of the games because
I
like
know.
RE1 and RE2 have like such cool like aspects about them between like the
Mhm,
settings and
mhm,
the plots and the characters and stuff and the way that they're
mhm,
written.
mhm.
And we've only really gotten, I don't even know if we've gotten like a video trailer, but we've gotten a lot of pictures and
Yeah.
they've shown some stuff in there. I don't want to talk about it too much in case people are like avoiding looking at them for spoilers,
Right.
but they have a lot of stuff from the games that they've shown in the pictures that,
Mhm,
some
mhm,
things where it's like you're making a movie about a video game, typically video game movies are trash.
mhm,
So there's stuff in the that looks like is going to be in these movies that I would have never
mhm,
expected coming from a video game movie. So it makes me really
mhm,
excited because I know the director also um, said that he was really inspired to make the movie after seeing the Resident Evil 2 remake.
mhm.
So, it seems like he really wants to do a good job and make a movie that the fans of the game series will actually enjoy instead of making
Actually
Nemesis
enjoy.
cry and stuff.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see the Tyrant and how they're gonna incorporate him in this movie as well because
Oh, yeah,
that
true.
again is one of the biggest like horror aspects to Resident Evil 1. I really, really, really hope that they stay true to the horror because I genuinely believe like RE1 and 2 are like the scariest
Mm,
games in the series instead of action. I swear to God,
yeah.
if this movie is actiony in any way, I'm going to cry
I got
because
really disappointed by the last like animated Resident Evil movie Because the
Mm,
trailers made it look like it was going to be scary, because like they showed the mansion and stuff, and the beginning
right.
actually was like a scary horror movie, but right after they get
Mhm.
out of the mansion, it's like all action. There's like nothing scary about it anymore, and that was really
Yeah.
disappointing.
Yeah, I'm not trying to have a repeat of Resident Evil 6 because I in like movie form because I will
Yeah.
cry. I will cry. But yeah, I'm really excited for this movie. It comes out November 24th, which is actually the day after my birthday, so we should definitely watch it
Oh
together.
yeah, we'll be going to the
Um,
theaters for sure.
yeah, big, very big hopes for this movie. I will be severely disappointed if it is not,
No.
if it is not to the expectations. I really genuinely think that the directors understand the stakes at line
Well,
here.
right now, like my mindset is that there's no way this movie is going to be bad, which, I hate to have my, like, I hate to be so optimistic about it because I'll be crushed if it's
Right.
terrible. But
Exactly. Yeah.
just in my mind right now, I'm like, this is going to be an amazing movie, and it will
Hmm,
never.
hmm,
There's
hmm.
no universe in which this movie can bomb. Is the way that I think about it right now.
I just feel like the directors understand the
Oh
script. They
yeah,
understand the assignment right now, and they better not fuck up
yeah,
because that'll be so depressing to have yet another Resident Evil movie that just sucks.
yeah. I
So,
even saw like a
um,
quote from the director where
uh-huh.
he said that he even wanted to like, because Resident Evil, it's scary, but it's also not like it's not like keep you on the edge of your toes all the time, never give you a break type of
Right.
scary. So the
Which I
director,
like. I appreciate
yeah, and
that.
the director even said that he wanted to like incorporate some of those elements into the movie. So I think, like I said, there's no universe in which this movie will bomb.
Well, I definitely don't want to say that I'm as optimistic as you are, but I definitely do have hopes for this movie and will be severely disappointed if it is anything less than what the video games gave us. So, I think speaking like of live action things as
Yeah,
well, I'm actually
we have more
really,
movies to talk
really
about.
hyped for the Cowboy Bebop series that is coming out on November 19th. Everything's so close to my birthday. Wow,
Yeah,
November's going to be such a good month
yeah,
for
that's
me.
lucky.
Um, but basically, tomorrow, Tomorrow Studios, I think is what it's called, is gearing up with a producer to produce this Cowboy Bebop live action series that's actually funded by Netflix. And what I'm so excited about, okay, so there's a couple of things. Um, Yoko Kanno is a composer that was for the Cowboy Bebop animated
Mm,
series, and holy shit, is that whole album just
yeah,
incredible. So
that anime
Yoko
has a really
Kanno
good soundtrack.
really, it's such a good soundtrack. And Yoko Kanno has a group, I believe it's like the keyboards, or
Like she has a
what's it called?
band.
I think it's the keyboards. Yeah, she's a part of a band,
Hmm.
and they do a lot of the music for the Cowboy Bebop series, and she composes a lot of the scores. So she's actually working on this series as well, which I'm so hyped about because I feel like this series is going to definitely gear or gear away from how the Cowboy Bebop series was like. In each episode there was like something happening, and it was like just
Yeah.
adventure after adventure in each
So
episode.
yeah, it's like one of those shows where it's not like a continuous plot, right?
Right, yeah. I mean, like, there's like a continuous subplot, but for the most part, it's just like you're following these characters on these really crazy
Yeah.
space adventures. And in the live action series, they said, actually, I was reading in an article where the director was talking about how they're going to gear away from that and they're going to make each episode about like an hour long, and it's going
Oh.
to be like a continuous storyline.
Oh
Yeah,
wait, I
so
actually
I'm
like that a
really
lot.
yeah, I'm really excited about the episodes being an hour long because I genuinely don't think 30 minutes would do Cowboy Bebop as a live action series, especially if they're like gearing away from what the original series is
Yeah.
about would do it
Yeah.
justice. So yeah, and I'm really excited because they're working with really closely with the original director as well, which is Shinichiro, and he actually worked on a couple of things,
Mm.
a couple of different animes that were pretty good cast classics like Samurai Champloo. There's
Oh
this
wow.
one anime called Carol and Tuesday, which is absolutely amazing. I really feel like that's the most underrated anime within the like past 5 years. It's really enjoyable. It's a very slice of life anime. So if you're not into that, you probably will find this really boring. But basically, it's just two artists that run into each other and they're really cute. And I ship the fuck out of them.
I'll have
And they're really
to.
gay. So
Oh man, but we have to watch that one
yeah.
sometime. I know you
And then,
don't really
oh,
watch
yeah,
anime
we need to watch that.
anymore, but
I think that was like the last most recent anime that I had watched, and that was released a while ago. But yeah, he's worked on the director has produced a lot of really good classic animes. So honestly, I really have high hopes for this live action series as well. The main actor I was reading up on, he's actually John Cho, I think is his name,
mm,
and he said he's nervous to play the role because he's much older than Spike, because Spike's supposed to be like 27, 28. He's like 50, but he looks so good for his
well,
age. So honestly, I don't think it'll be a
I mean,
problem.
honestly, you have like 30-year-olds playing like high school kids, so I think
Yeah.
I really don't think it's that big of a deal. I think we'll do fine.
Yeah. And I also think it's not too big of a deal on the fact that the storyline does take place separately from the Cowboy Bebop series. So I don't know. Like I feel like it adds to the roughness of Spike anyways, because I was looking at
Yeah.
pictures of him and he doesn't look old. He
No.
definitely does not look 50. I would have pinned him definitely for like an early
Yeah,
30s kind of guy. So
on the like promotional pictures for the series,
mhm,
like the live action series with him, I didn't think
right.
he looked old at all. Like
Yeah,
I could not think of like I couldn't really pin any age on him, so really, honestly, he's gonna do fine, I'm sure.
yeah, he was nervous. He's talking about like he was like, "Yeah, I'm really nervous how the fans are gonna react." But at this point, I'm like, "Fuck it, I'm doing this role and I'm gonna do it good." And I was like, "Yeah,
That's
you
awesome.
go." That's the Spike energy we need, honestly.
You're never gonna please the fans anyways. Like anime
Honestly, yeah.
fans, they're just always gonna complain.
Feral. I mean, same thing for video game fans. I feel like a lot of people who are diehard Resident Evil fans are probably gonna critique the
Yeah,
fuck out of this movie, and it's like I feel like I'm the kind of person who can respect a movie for what it is, separate from its an original series, but only if it's good on its own, you know?
yeah.
But it's nice that these series are really, really trying to
Like stick to the
take
source
source.
material.
Yeah, exactly. They're trying to stick to the source, but having their own creative liberties on it. And I think that is really exciting
Yeah.
because it's basically just like reinventing the same things that were created a while ago,
Mm.
but in a new light. And I'm really excited about this Cowboy Bebop series because Yoko Kanno is going to be doing the scoring. They're going to be working closely with the original director. And then each episode's going to be an hour long. So I think there's going to be a lot to watch in this series. It's going to be exciting.
I hope
I
it's a
don't think there will be
long
a boring moment.
series. Like
Yeah, I hope they extend it like past season one. I'm not sure if they'd be able to, but I'm feeling like I
I
don't know,
want
like Space
I
Dandy.
want
I
at
think got
least
two seasons.
20 episodes from it
Ooh,
cuz
I don't think they're doing that many. I think they're doing like 13
can you
to start
imagine
out.
though? Like
That would be really cool. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Um, but the other thing that's throwing me off, I don't know why, but it's just like it's live action. So like I'm wondering how they're gonna go for it because there's a couple of live action movies that from anime that I think have adapted so goddamn well. Like I don't know if you've ever seen Phoenix Wright or Ace Attorney or played
um
any of the video
I
games.
definitely know about the games and I like
Okay.
know what they entail, but I've never like
Mhm.
personally um like played any of the games or watched anything. I didn't even know that they made
Mhm.
like show like a show based off of it.
Yeah, so Ace Attorney is actually one of my favorite video games. It's a really good series. It's basically just like you're a detective lawyer kind of thing, and it's super charming. The characters are all their names are like based off of puns, and I think you would really like it. The case stories are pretty interesting. They're very silly. They're very out there. I have a couple of them that you could actually play, but I genuinely it's a charming series
Hmm.
on top of having a really good storyline and characters that are very well developed. But the movie that came out for Ace Attorney was a live action movie, and I think it was back I wanna say early 2000s, but I genuinely cannot remember. But I think it was the perfect adaptation from an anime or from a video game that I've genuinely seen because the way that it the way the movie is, shot is very similar in terms of how anime reactions are. So, like, since
Uh,
the video game is like an anime style, a lot of the characters have very like outrageous reactions to things. There's this really funny thing that the jury does during the
hmm.
court readings and court sessions and stuff, and they stay true to the video game when it comes to having the jury do what they do in the video game when you choose something wrong and like the reactions of the characters. It's very cartoony, very
So
exaggerated.
this is like,
So
sorry, was this like? Did you say
no,
this
you're
was
good.
live action, or did they make like a anime?
Yeah, it was a live
Oh, that's
action.
even cooler, actually.
Yeah, so it was really nice to see such a true like it was sticking to the source in terms of not only storyline, it was taking like the greatest portions of the storyline and the cases and stuff cuz it kind of like more ran off like the main storyline. There's like 5 cases I believe that you do in the first video game, but in the movie they pretty much like run off the first storyline while they're trying to solve a case.
Mm,
So it's amazing. I really love the actors. I think the actor that plays Phoenix looks exactly like him. Like I've never seen
wow.
anyone just look so like it look it. And the best part is that it doesn't feel like cosplay at the same time. Like I think this movie does really well with balancing like real world application from an anime or like
Yeah.
anime style
And, that was
game.
actually another thing that I was thinking of when it came to the Resident Evil movie coming out. Because,
Mm, hmm.
like we were talking about how you can't please gamers. And
Right.
so, like, when they posted pictures on Twitter of the cast and stuff,
Hmm.
a lot of the complaints, of course, I read the replies because I wanted to be in a bad mood, I guess. So I clicked on the replies and I was scrolling down, and the most common complaint that I saw from people was Leon doesn't look like how he does in the game. Wah. And
Mm.
it's like you can't expect like a one for one of these things,
Yeah,
and
honestly.
like but like, except in the case of Phoenix, right? I guess it's just gonna look like
Mhm.
bad cosplay.
Yeah, seriously. I think that I don't know, I think they did really well with, like, translating the charm and the idea of what these characters embody in the live action, at least from what I've seen from the screenshots and
Yeah.
stuff. Like, Claire, very much exactly what I think Claire Redfield would look like
Oh
in real
yeah,
life.
for
Same thing
sure.
with Leon. Oh, man. Let me not, actually.
Yeah, I
But
know. I know what you
Leon,
were about to
"Woof, woof,
do.
woof,"
Oh no.
got me barking. But yeah, I think a lot of people expect things to look exactly like anime, and it's like you also have to realize anime isn't real.
Yeah,
So
that is also true.
you can only go so far with it without it looking like cosplay
Yeah,
and looking like campy. Do you know what I mean?
yeah. I get what you mean.
Because you can go for camp. I feel like in the Ace Attorney movie, it very much gears a little bit towards like the campy side, just because of the reactions and stuff.
But those games are kind of
But
lighthearted, anyways, so you can get
yeah,
away with
I mean,
it.
like the storyline is pretty serious towards the end. I mean, like the thing is like that's exactly how the video games are anyways. Like it deals with like really serious situations. I'm trying to be as vague as possible again if you've never played the Ace Attorney series. But it deals with really serious situations, but puts it in a light that's like, wow, this is fun. And it's really emotional too, because like um there's a lot of character to character relationship versus character versus environment.
Mm,
Do you know what I mean?
yeah.
Like in Resident Evil, it's very much like characters versus environment. And you don't
Yeah.
really have like a relationship built between characters.
Mm,
I feel like in Ace Attorney, it's very much like the opposite of that.
there's
Like you
definitely an
have
attempt in Resident Evil. There's an attempt.
yeah, yeah, there's an attempt to do that, but I feel like for me, emotionally, I don't feel that connection, especially between characters.
Right.
But when it comes to Ace Attorney, I feel like it's really dedicated to how these characters interact with each other, how their personalities kind of feed off of each other and stuff,
Mm,
and so forth. So I really think that I have high hopes for this live action. I'm really excited that they're not making it a movie, that they're actually making it a series. But yeah,
yeah.
super excited. Oh my gosh, and the
Yeah, we have
dog,
to talk about
Ein.
Ein.
The fact that they're using a fucking corgi,
I
like,
know,
come
it's
on.
perfect. It's literally perfect. And like
Cute.
they
I
have
love
so many
Ein so
promotional
much.
videos with Ein and like it's just the cutest dog like in the history of dogs and
Honestly, how do you even
like he's
cast like
perfect
your
for the role.
dogs to
He's
be in a
perfect.
movie? It had to have been some kind of dog that they saw that's like famous on Instagram, and they were like, "We
Yeah,
need you to be this dog."
literally perfect for the role. They could not have done it better.
Perfect. I'm really excited to see how he's going to be incorporated in the show. Like, what is he
I
gonna
know.
do? Like, what is he
It's just gonna be
like
so
this?
cute.
He's so cute. Like, is he gonna bite people on command? Is he gonna be like really feisty and funky? Like, what? I'm
Yeah.
so excited.
Anyone who's
I'm
like
so excited.
on the fence about it, just look up like promotional videos with Ein and you'll change your mind because that dog is just so unbelievably cute.
So cute. And he's like the perfect embodiment of Ein too. Like just the classic corgi colors, and the colors are exactly like the same spots too.
Yeah.
Um, but I love Ein. I love Ein so much, and I love him in the series, and he's so cute and funny. And I'm really excited to see how they use him in the live action.
Yeah. Man, like everything we just talked about did not get me as excited as mentioning Ein for that
I
series.
know. It's killing me. It's so cute. I love those promotional videos. I think are the best promo videos I've ever
I
seen for
know.
anything.
Like they have one where like they're getting him like food or they're getting him coffee or something and like
You're getting him
yeah,
water.
they're getting him water and there's like can someone bring him water? And like he's just a regular actor at the table and they're all eating
I
lunch and it's so
know.
cute.
And his bowl just has his name on it, and he's just such a good boy. Like what the heck? Oh my goodness. Oh, my heart is exploding right now. Um, but yeah, I'm really excited for the series. I'm just so glad everything comes out near my birthday, so I can just
Yeah.
kind of like binge watch things for like 5 days in a row.
Yeah, I'm really excited for that too.
Hmm,
We're
hmm, hmm.
definitely gonna watch those together, right?
Yes,
Okay,
yeah, of
perfect.
course. Then we can talk about it again in another
Yeah,
podcast.
perfect.
Our reviews of these series.
So,
But speaking of other things coming
yeah,
out too, you have your release of Melty Blood coming out
Melty
soon, right?
Blood comes out exactly 1 week from today. So, we're recording this on um,
The
Thursday the
23rd.
23rd. It comes out on Thursday the 30th, which means we're only 1 week away from release, and I've never been so hyped for a fighting game in such a long time. I was hyped for Guilty Gear when that was coming out, but yeah, we could talk about Guilty Gear in a different
You were
episode.
severely butthurt from Guilty Gear Strive.
Yeah, unfortunately, I have a sore booty from that game, but Melty Blood, I have no hesitations
Mm.
about. I'm going to go in on that game once it comes out.
Yeah,
So
you know what else you also had zero hesitations
don't
about?
say Strive. No,
Strive.
that's true. I did have no hesitations about Strive, But
You were like,
honestly,
guys, this is gonna be the best game ever. I don't think you
I
understand."
feel like deep
And
down,
everyone was
I
like,
kind of knew that I was
eh.
probably not going to like it. But the problem is that all of our friends were like making fun of me
Right.
for supporting the game, and
Mhm.
like, I can't let them win. You know, I have to defend that game until I die, or it comes
Yeah,
out and
and,
then it
that
dies to
came back to
me.
severely bite you in the
It did,
ass.
unfortunately. But
Which is funny because they ended up playing Strive more than you
they
did.
still play that game, and I have
They
not.
still
Let
play?
me see real quick. So
They might have more hours clocked in the game than you do.
yeah, they definitely do. I mean, don't get me wrong, like, I played it a decent amount when it came out. I have
Right.
32 and a half hours on the game, but the last time I
Right.
launched it was August 27th. So,
Oh, ouch.
yeah,
It's
it,
gonna be, like, almost a month since you've played it,
yeah,
since it came out.
it's rough.
That is rough. But Melty Blood, why do you have so, like, such why do you have such high expectations for Melty Blood being, like, the basically the best new fighter?
So, there's a variety of reasons
Mhm.
why I'm so excited for the game. The first one
Mhm.
being that there's been kind of a trend in modern fighting games of kind of like dumbing down basic mechanics. Like
Mhm.
Street Fighter
Mm, mhm.
4 going to Street Fighter 5, like
Mhm.
combos in Street Fighter 4, it was like you had easier combos that you could do that, did decent damage, but for the people who really wanted to grind out the game, there was combos that you could do that were more expressive and
Mhm.
creative that you had to
Mhm.
actually work for and practice, like go into training mode and practice them. So they had like
Mhm.
a good mixture of appealing to casual players as well as hardcore
Mhm.
fans. But then Street Fighter V came out, and basically what Capcom said was, we don't want anyone to have long combos. We don't want
Mhm.
people to like have to worry about a million different ways. Because another thing that Street Fighter 4 had, they had a lot of defensive options for getting out of pressure.
Mhm.
They all had their weaknesses, so that was like kind of fun in the game, was like,
Mhm.
there's that really getting the opponent's head and being like, I knew you were going to do this of like 10 options that you could do, and I picked the perfect
Mhm.
one because I'm in your head. And then
Mhm.
Street Fighter 5 was like, no, we don't want to deal with that. The classic example
Right.
being that backdashes in Street Fighter 4 were
Mhm.
invincible for a period of time, and then Street Fighter V, they completely removed backdash invincibility.
Mhm.
And they realized that that was a mistake because in this season of Street Fighter V, they
Mhm.
introduced a mechanic called V Shift, where you press two
Mm,
buttons and
yeah.
you do a backdash, and that backdash is
Right.
invincible. So,
Yeah.
they kind of realized that they messed up. But,
Mhm.
then there's the case of Guilty Gear. Guilty Gear,
Mhm.
if you've seen old Guilty Gear and then you look at Strive,
I definitely
you
have,
know what
yeah.
the difference is. But
Yeah, I definitely can tell that in Strive they dumbed the fuck out of the game for newer fighters, which I kind of really appreciate because I feel like there's not really too many anime fighters that are friendly
yeah,
to
that's
newcomers.
definitely a
And I
downfall of them.
Yeah, and I know like a lot of people who are veterans to the fighting game scene, they just like they complain a lot because they're just like, no, it doesn't need to be dumbed down for newer players, blah 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 blah. But you know what? I suck ass. I suck ass at fighters, and it doesn't matter which fighter I play because you need to have a solid foundation. Honestly, if you're trying to also like change between games and have fun in a different couple of games, it's like I don't want to spend the amount of time that it takes to get good at that game to enjoy it.
hmm
Because that's what it takes to enjoy a fighting game. No one likes getting their ass kicked.
Oh,
Definitely
yeah.
no one likes getting their ass beat with like 30,000 combos and you can't even get one hit in. Like, that's just not fun to me. So it's like, what's the point of me playing if like I'm just gonna get my ass beat? And it's not a matter of like how many time you get your ass beat that you're going to start learning how to not get your ass beat. It's more of just like you got to train and learn those combos
hmm
and learn those fundamental techniques in order to even put up a fight, which
Yeah.
I think is like, I'm not going to invest all that time into it because I just don't have the
Yeah,
time to
exactly.
invest into
And that
that.
kind of goes back to like what I was talking about a little earlier when it comes to like the like pattern of newer fighting games dumbing down from old ones kind of,
Mhm,
because the thing about making these games simpler,
mhm,
I've thought about this a lot, but the thing about making these
mhm,
games like simpler in their mechanics is that
mhm,
an experienced fighting game player, no matter how simple the
mhm,
game is going to come in and just completely wreck a new player. It doesn't matter like how simple you make the game. So I think the problem is like in terms of getting new people into the genre is just how they teach players how to play the game. Fighting game tutorials for the most part are garbage, and even the good ones, they're
mhm.
not much better because they give you a lot of information, but they pretty much introduce it to you like you're reading a textbook instead of like playing a game.
Mhm,
So that's that's where I think that stands. So
mhm,
I'm not a fan of the direction that a lot of fighting games have been going. Like I think they're good games. I'll play Street Fighter
mhm,
5 and I'll play Guilty Gear Strive and I'll enjoy
mhm.
them. But I personally just have a lot more fun when I boot up like the older games.
Right. I totally understand where you're coming from. Like that makes a lot of sense. Like whether you're it doesn't really matter whether you are learning the game or not because you're just going to get your ass beat by veteran players. But I think like the biggest aspect for me coming into a fighting game is like, can I have fun? Because that's the whole point of me playing games is like, can I have fun? And if
Yeah.
I'm not having fun, I don't have fun playing by myself. I really fucking don't. Like, it's probably the most boring thing to
Well,
sit in training mode trying to perfect combos for like 3 hours. I genuinely don't care
yeah.
about doing that. I like watching videos of people fight, like play fighting games. I really like analyzing those types of videos. But when it comes to actually performing the combos and stuff, I'm like, wow, could literally rather die than do
Well, that's the
this.
thing.
Like,
And like that's not the fault of the player who's trying to get into them. It's the fault of the developers who like just make their like tutorials and the way that you learn the game so boring cuz single player fighting games are just like, there's people that really enjoy going into train mode and doing that. They're just built different.
right,
But for like
right.
the newcomer, the way
Just
that
built
the
different.
yeah, but for the newcomer, like the way that the developers present the information is just it it puts you to sleep. So, it's not a matter of like in my opinion, it's never been a matter of we have to make the games easy.
Hmm, hmm.
It's just that like they have to do a better job at making learning it fun because they do a really poor job at that.
Right.
So the reason,
Yeah.
yeah, so that's why I'm so excited for Melty Blood. Because
Hmm,
if like I said, like if you go and watch old Guilty Gear videos and
hmm.
then you watch Guilty Gear Strive, it's a pretty big difference, and there's no way that you would ever
Yeah.
confuse the two games. If you go back,
No, obviously not.
yeah, if you go
You'd have to be
back, you
stupid.
have to be stupid. So if you go back and watch old Melty Blood videos, and you
Right.
watch videos from the new Melty Blood coming out next week,
Correct.
like,
There's not too many clips, but I've seen a couple of
yeah,
them.
they've been doing a really good job. They've been, like, leading up to release, they've been uploading match videos, like, every 2 days. They actually just came
Right.
out with a new match video a couple hours ago. So,
Oh, okay, I have to
and
watch it.
yeah, it looks so fun. So that's the thing, though, like, watching
Mhm,
old Melty Blood and new Melty Blood,
mhm.
like, new Melty Blood looks like old Melty Blood, but at the same time, it looks different from old Melty Blood. So,
Yeah, I see what you mean. I mean, like, I get the same multi-blood, I guess, atmosphere from the new
yeah.
game as I do in the old game.
Yeah. And it's just really exciting to see that because personally, I feel like it's been a long time. I would say Tekken 7 is probably the game that came closest to keeping this spirit alive, but it's been a long time. I feel like that we've seen a modern fighting game that, like, keeps the aspect of this game is easy to learn but hard to master. That's just one aspect of why I'm so excited for it. Like
Mhm.
everything from the graphics. I know we talked in the last episode about drip
Mhm.
versus no drip, and we both have our own opinions on that.
Mhm.
But like the music in the
No drip.
game is so good. All the drip. The music in the game is so good. And there's actually like a video posted on YouTube about a week ago
Mhm.
that
Mhm.
leaked some stuff from the tutorial mode.
Mhm.
And, like fighting game tutorials are so boring. But when
Mm.
you are
Mhm.
playing the Melty
Mhm.
Blood tutorial and you just hear that music, the music is just so good that there's no way that anybody is going to hate that tutorial, which is,
I think you have I
I
think
might
your
be
problem
biased.
comes with making yeah, well, not really. Not that being biased in these types when it comes to like talking about these video games that you like is bad. I think it's when you make statements that are like forever statements. And it's very much like
They're too
it's the same thing
factual.
of being like, I feel like no one talks about this. Or like saying statements that are um like how you just said, like, I think that this tutorial there isn't a single person who is going to find this tutorial not hype. And I think
No,
that's where
those
you
those are factual.
fuck yourself over because then there's gonna be people who play the tutorial and be like, yo, what was this bitch talking about?
No,
This is the most boring tutorial I've ever
I,
played in
I
my
promise you,
life.
these are factual statements that I'm speaking to you
Okay.
right now.
Right. And then you get wonder and then you wonder why you get bullied in the Discord.
No, but
This is just Strive all over again. I want you to know that. I mean,
no,
not
no,
that the
no.
game is going to be bad and then everyone it's gonna like no one's gonna play, but I just think
Well,
that those
definitely no
statements
one's
that you're
gonna play,
making
like, between our friend
tread
group.
carefully, you dog.
Roo roo. No, but I just think that, like, oh yeah, I forgot to mention, like, probably the biggest aspect of why I think it's going to be good. First of all, it's not a
Mhm,
big
mhm.
fighting game company.
Okay.
This is a company called French Bread who made the original Multi Blood.
Eggs for dessert, French
Yeah,
bread.
French
Come on.
Bread. It's a match made in heaven.
Come on.
I'm telling you. And like,
Geniuses.
yeah. And French Bread is like a smaller company. And they
Mhm.
found like their success with Melty Blood. And, that was back in like 2004. So then back
Right.
in like 2010 or 2011, they came out with another fighting game called Under
Mhm.
Night in Birth. And that game, like to this day, is my favorite modern fighting game because they've come out with like updates to it and stuff.
Right.
And that game to me is just like the best modern fighting game in terms of like having the learning factor. The more time you
Mhm.
put in, the more there is to learn, and like the skill
Right.
ceiling like never
Mhm.
ends, but the skill floor, it's not like too hard to understand. They have mechanics.
Mhm.
It's not like Street Fighter 5 where they like take everything away. They
Right.
actually have mechanics in the game that
Mhm.
make the game interesting and
Yeah.
always fun to learn, and every match feels different. And
Right.
Melty Blood, the new Melty Blood has the same, it's made by the same studio. It
Mhm.
uses the Under Night in Birth style graphics. That's another thing. It's 2D sprites as opposed to 3D, and there's not a lot of that going on anymore. And the music is
Right.
made by the same person that has made the music for Under Night in Birth and the original Multi Blood. So this game is just in good hands, honestly, all around.
I think what's really great about this game, or what I think is really cool about this game that I'm kind of excited to play is it's so heavy on combos.
Oh
I
yeah,
think this is the most combo heavy game I've ever
yeah,
seen in terms of fighting games.
especially in
Um,
modern fighting games. Yeah,
yeah, especially in modern fighting games, and it's really heavy on air combos as well. Like I
mm-hmm.
think it's really interesting how you can chain certain things into the air to go back in a corner, like cornering a like I'm watching the gameplay video of um what's it called? Roa and Noel.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Is this the new one? Is this the new
That's
one you were
not the
talking
new
about?
one. That is the one that they
Okay.
uploaded before the new one. So it's
Before
not
the new
that
one?
old.
Yeah. And I think it's just like really fucking awesome because it's really fast paced, which I like a lot about fighting games. I don't like fighting games that take its time like Street
Yeah,
Fighter. I don't
yeah,
know, it's not for me. Street Fighter can be really, really, really slow because I feel like it's a heavy hitter kind of game. Like you get like 3 hits in and that's it. You're kind of
yeah.
dead.
And for a while,
um,
Street Fighter was my favorite fighting game franchise. But with the
right.
release of Street Fighter Five, I've kind of evolved from that. I used to be really into it, but I
Right.
did not like Street Fighter Five at all when it launched.
I Yeah, that's a really unfortunate thing too, because right when I was starting to get into Street Fighter 4, is pretty much when like a couple months later, Street Fighter 5 got
Oh, yeah.
announced for release, and I was like, "Whoa, that's really cool." I'm just gonna wait for the new game to start, because everyone's just kind of like fresh. Everyone will be on
Yeah.
like a base
The
level,
new game ended up being
whatever. And
straight
then
ass.
yeah, and then I played it, and I was like, "Wow, this game
Yeah,
sucks."
it was not
So
well received by
yeah.
anybody.
No, I think what's really funny is like when I went to CEO and I was watching people play the Street Fighter 4 tournaments, I was like, wow, this game looks fucking hype. Same thing with Blaze Blue. I actually really wanted to get into Blaze Blue, but I never got into it.
Mm.
I just didn't take the time to. My cousin in Puerto Rico is like diehard Blaze Blue fan,
Oh,
but
really?
um, yeah, super diehard Blaze Blue fan. But I feel like for me, the only fighting game that I was ever really able to get into and actually like get good at was Smash. And it's super unfortunate to say that because that's, probably
That community
the
is on
equivalent.
another level.
Yeah, Smash is the equivalent of like the garbage that's really, really full, but no one wants to take it out. So you keep kind of
Yeah.
like pushing it down to the bottom in hopes that you can put more
No.
trash on top of it.
Oh my god.
Oh, that's how I feel like everyone in the fighting game community looks at Smash is like shit, really smelly garbage that no one wants to take out. It unfortunately will stay there for another week or so. But it's just like I genuinely had a really good time playing Smash. I really liked the characters that I was able to play. I didn't. I mean, I played Ultimate for a long time, but not that long. I mained Isabel,
As did I.
and yeah,
Naturally.
it's just like dog. Woof. But yeah, I made Isabel because she had some really like I wouldn't say cheap, but she had some really gimmicky things with that you could do with her fishing hook, which I thought was really fun.
Hmm.
And plus I fucking love Isabel, so I mean like you can't really go wrong there.
Yeah.
I was so goddamn hyped when they released those Isabel promotion trailers for Ultimate. I was
That was
scream
definitely
crying in my room.
unexpected.
Yeah, I was throwing up in my room. I was like, "Oh my god, I love Isabel so much. I love Animal Crossing."
It was
Um,
really sad. When
what?
they had like a Nintendo Direct with Smash. I think it was
Uh-huh.
around like E3 or something,
Right.
and they were announcing
Uh-huh.
like characters and stuff. And
Uh-huh.
the whole time, like I literally said to my brother who I was watching it with, I was like, "Oh man, I
Uh-huh.
the only character that I want announced today is Bomberman. If they announce Bomberman as a playable character, I will lose my mind." And then like they were going with the trailer and like Bomberman
Mhm.
shows up and I got so excited that they're like assist trophy. And in like that same exact moment, I was just like,
Ah.
no. And I just
Yeah.
like put
I
my
remember
head
I
down on my
got
pillow and cried.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's not like you even played Smash anyways, but you probably
I
would
would
have
have
if
if
Bomberman
Bomberman
was
was
in
a
it.
character.
Yeah. I wanted Tharja to be in this game so fucking bad. I like
Mm,
I was really hoping that she would become a DLC in the last game, but I knew in the back of my mind that that would never happen. But I was really feeling that Tharja would be a DLC character for this game, and unfortunately, she never became a DLC.
that's
But
unlucky, yeah.
it's like Sephiroth was like the
Oh
biggest
yeah, like
what?
what? He kills
Hello?
Mario in the
And
trailer.
the fact that Minecraft Steve made it onto the fucking roster, but not Tharja?
Yeah,
Alright,
I mean
whatever.
Naruto made it in Fortnite, so why not? I guess.
Anything's possible!
It's 2021, baby.
2021, baby, let's go! But yeah, I feel like that was like one of the only games that fighting games that I was able to get into because it was just fun. It was fun for me. It was really easy to learn. I liked the roster. I mean, it's a really good fucking roster. You can't beat Toon Link and a dog. So
Yeah, Toon Link and a
I
dog.
yeah, I really enjoyed that game. I played it for a very long time. Played it competitively for a little bit. Got my ass beat at a couple of tournaments. Got better. Beat some other asses, and then I don't know. I kind of just stopped playing. Probably because I just didn't find anyone else who wanted to play Smash the way that I got competitive about it.
Yeah, and also
um,
just the stuff that was going on with that community
yeah. Plus, that
was
community is just really shitty in
really,
general. So
yeah,
it's just like, I don't even really want to play this game anymore. You
yeah,
guys ruined it. It could have been so good. Could have been so good, but all y'all smelly
yeah.
motherfuckers.
Well, I can tell you right now, the multi-blood community is going to be open arms, open
Right,
arms for
because it
you.
only consists of you.
No, okay,
The
wow,
community
okay.
is one, and then their plus one is gonna be me.
Uh,
I'm
I hate
kidding.
that
I'm
so much.
kidding.
But yeah,
Um.
it comes out next week, so around
Mhm,
the one
mhm,
week
mhm.
mark.
Right.
Unfortunately, there's still no pre-order for Steam, which makes me sad because we won't be able to
Pre-order.
preload
Oh,
it.
okay.
Um,
Right.
but it's going to be really fun. And another just one last thing about the game. That
Yeah.
game is only going to be like $50
Thank
on
God.
release. Okay.
Oh,
No, no, no.
$50.
Usually fighting games are like 60.
Wow,
So
$10 off.
yeah, so
Incredible.
it's discounted fighting game, and it's going to be the best fighting game of 2021. So really, you don't have anything to lose.
Right. I think I'm just gonna stick to watching you play and playing it on your computer, and then if I decide that I want to spend $50 on a game that I'll play once, I'll do it.
No, trust me, you'll be seeing me play against people, and I'll be like styling with like ambiguous left-right mix-ups,
Styling.
and oh my god, that game's gonna be hype. And I trust me, once I start playing it and you watch
Mhm,
that, you're gonna
mhm.
be hype. Everyone's gonna be
Quick
hype.
side note. Quick side note. Garnet is running so fast on her fucking wheel, and she's so
That's
cute.
really cute, actually.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Uh,
I want to come in there and scoop her.
yeah. She's looking pretty scoopable right now. So if you're gonna if you're gonna ask me. But anyways, yeah. So speaking of like finding video games that I lose interest really fast in because it's hard for me to fucking learn fighting games in general and not get my ass kicked. Another thing I struggle with is finishing single player games.
This
Now,
is a big topic for me.
yeah, I think we should talk about this on the next podcast,
Mm,
but we'll leave you with this teaser. Um, the next things we're going to talk about next week is definitely finishing single player games.
yeah.
Because it's a very massive topic that I think me and Woo Woo can talk about for years. So.
I have a huge backlog, so I have so much to say about this one.
Oh yeah, for sure. But thank you for tuning into this episode of Eggs for Dessert. You can check us out on Twitter and YouTube to keep up to date for Eggs for Dessert news. Listen to us on our Spotify. You're driving to work or you want to listen to us on the go.
If you're
Spotify is definitely friendly for
exercising,
that. You're exercising?
if you're
Oh man, I've just started
exercising,
working out. And yeah, I think I'm going to be listening to a couple of podcasts while I work out
you
because
should listen.
nothing's more engaging than lifting
You
weights.
should listen. You definitely listen to Eggs for Dessert. Boost those
Oh
numbers.
yeah, For sure, for
Yeah,
sure.
if
Boost the downloads.
you like us, all the links to our social media and stuff is gonna be in the description on YouTube.
But yeah, thanks guys.
Thank you. Woo woo
Whoa, wait, no, squeak,
woo.
squeak, squeak.